Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. It was very relaxing for us because it was snowing, so we were inside, stuck inside. I've got some very serious concerns, and I'm just going to speak from my heart, and you guys can take it for what it's worth. This is my personal views with some evidence, that I have been looking at. Back February, let's see, what was the date on this article? I'm going to put the link down below to all these articles. Back on February 7th, 2021, the New Daily did an article about child abuse survivors slams government's 8-year extension of National Redress Scheme deadline. And in this article, they were basically bashing the Australia government redress scheme, and it was even quoted by an advocate that the government was buying themselves time while they decide how to handle institutions who have not signed up. And they had given these institutions 8 more years. And so I want to thank so much all of you who have sent me links to all of this stuff and helping me find evidence and pieces together. Now someone else, like I said, I'm going to put a link down to this original article because the reporter got bashed by the regressive elder, and I think she even revised it like 5 or 6 times, but she kept editing, this article because this actually hurts abuse survivors. So then someone sent me the link to this. Now this is from the Angela Drennis Legal, and this is a lawyer in Australia, and it says March 12th, 2021, Jehovah's Witnesses finally agreed to join the National Redress Scheme. Now I want to remind everybody that about a month ago we had a clip from a Sunday Zoom meeting in Australia where the elder was announcing Jehovah's Witnesses were going to join the redress scheme. Okay?
Jehovah's Witnesses does not and has not sponsored any activities that have resulted in children being put in its care, custody, supervision or control or authority. However, now that participation is required by the law, we will be joining the scheme. The scripture goes for that in Romans 13 verse 1. So to conclude
And I want to mention, Watchtower doesn't have to legally join at this point. And their charity status has not been taken away. And, several of these articles mention that they don't have to join yet. Now, when you go to the actual Australian redress scheme, I'll put the link down below to that. You can click on institutions who have joined. Now, it's interesting because at this point, Jehovah's Witnesses are not on this list. So, we know that there's been several articles that Jehovah's Witnesses were joining. So this press release went out to the media, but the Australian Royal Redress, Commission has not announced them joining yet, officially. So, there's a lot of questions. And like I said, I'm not going to say one way or the other. I'm just putting information out that I have been able to glean, and all of you who have sent me some of this information. Okay? Now, going back to this Angela Drennis Legal blog, I'm going to read the second paragraph here. This is why it has been even more important that the JWs join the NRS, a point to which they have finally been dragged kicking and screaming, not because they care about abuse survivors, but because of federal government threats, this is not law yet, threats to revoke their charitable status if they did not join. The announcement was, of course, disingenuous. Now that the law requires charities to join this scheme, Jehovah's Witnesses will comply, the JW said in a statement to AAP. And like I just showed, that was the announcement made at their Sunday Zoom meetings about a month ago. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that it is their responsibility before God to respect and cooperate with the authorities. Actually, the law does not require that the JWs join the scheme. The law requires that they will lose their charitable status if they don't, which is ultimately what cynically drove the JWs to join the scheme. So it is not a law yet. The government has only been threatening to take their charity status. And like I said, I hope this clears up a lot of misunderstanding, because yesterday my email blew up with links to the article in the Australian. And I'm reading this article and something didn't seem quite right. Okay? This article was claiming that Watchtower filed a lawsuit last week against, the Australian, let's see, what's it called? The NRS? Well, we know it's the redress committee or national registry, whatever, that branch of the government is. This article was claiming that Watchtower is suing, this branch or this redress committee, whatever regulation, charity regulation. I don't remember, exactly what it is. Okay. First thing that popped in my head, if Watchtower voluntarily is joining a month ago, like the announcement says, then why are they turning around and suing them for this when they haven't, lost their charity status yet? The government is only threatening. And it goes back to the article I mentioned at the beginning from the Daily Mail. And as much as I can't stand the regressive elder, he did an article about this. And he got threatened. He got threatened, by some other advocates. But the thing is this information is being leaked to the journalists. And the journalists, I personally feel that a lot of the media, you cannot trust them 100%. And it's funny because that's what one of these advocates bashed me for, is, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. We have reliable news we can depend on. And then they turn around and give misinformation to these journalists. And, I really hate to see this, because I wish that all of us could work together and get accurate information out to the media. But unfortunately, that's not happening. And, this isn't hurting Watchtower. Not really. Because all you're doing is discrediting the entire XJW community and all of us who are trying to get truth out there. You're just proving Watchtower right when they say we're all doing half-truths and lies. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to, reiterate that. Why would Jehovah's Witnesses join the redress voluntarily when it's not law yet and they have not had their charity status revoked? So why would Watchtower join the redress scheme voluntarily and then turn around and sue this charity commission? It does not make sense. See, this is what I mean. We have to be careful. And unfortunately, this news went out everywhere yesterday. All the forums blew up and everybody, like I said, my email blew up. And I do appreciate all of you sending me information. But I think at this point, we need to be careful and read carefully and think about things before we just send it out into the universe. Even Watchtower warns publishers of doing that, 20, 30 years ago. don't send out rumors and gossip and stuff like that. Yeah, this is great. This is great news. Oh boy, send it out. But let's get our facts straight. So anyway, that is my thoughts on that. I'm going to put the link down below to, these things I talked about. And this is what I told most of you who were sending me the link. Let's get evidence. Where are the actual court documents that this happened? Now I want to quote something from this article that was in the Australian yesterday. And this is what I'm like, scratching my head and brought up a lot of questions. Because they say the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profit Commission informed Watchtower in November of its intention to revoke the organization's charity status, citing a litany of concerns about alleged contraventions of the Corporation Acts, blah, blah, blah. If registration were to be removed, it would serve as a wake-up call for many other religious charities who have systematically failed to protect sexually abused children, he said. The removal of charitable registration would be an extraordinary outcome. So, they're even admitting that their charity status has not been revoked at this point. In a statement, Watchtower Director Terry O'Brien, we remember him from the Australian Commission, denied the ACNC had moved to strip the organization of its charity registration. The ACNC has assured the directors that they do not intend to revoke Watchtower Australia's charity status, Mr. O'Brien said. However, court documents filed last week reveal the ACNC had accused Watchtower's directors of failing to comply with key conduct standards, including a requirement to disclose conflicts of interest and a requirement to protect children who are assessing benefits under the charity's program. If the court upholds the ACNC's decision, Watchtower will lose its status as a registered charity and will not be entitled to receive tax concessions. So that's why there's, big question mark, because they say the ACNC told Watchtower they would not revoke their charity status. And then there's alleged court documents saying they are. I would like to see these court documents. And just a suggestion, I think all of us should be a little more careful, with some of this information, and especially those of us talking to reporters, because, we need evidence. We need evidence. Where are these court documents? Where is this journalist's proof? That's why, the media, they don't have the best reputation, at least here in the United States. None of them do. So, in the article it says, Watchtower argues that the decision contains multiple errors of law. So if this is an alleged court case, we want to see the court documents. And this was the only article I could find about this. And if this was a court case where Watchtower files a lawsuit against this ACNC, you'd think it would be all over the media. Okay, now I got my video all uploaded, and then a dear friend sent me a link to a Reddit post, and it has a link to the Australian, and they have corrected their article they did yesterday. So that tells me the first article was incorrect. They have been given misinformation. Okay? So I will admit, at this point I'm all confused. But I'm going to read what the Australian article now says. And I don't have a subscription, so I can't see the entire article. But I can see in just the top, what I can see, that they've changed it. Jehovah's Witness charity denies tax issues with Watchdog. The Jehovah's Witness organization says it has resolved legal action with Australian charity Watchdog after it threatened to revoke their tax-exempt status. So then I go back to the original question then. So why is Watchtower filing legal documents, a lawsuit? Because that's what their article originally said. Yesterday's article, this is what it said. The Jehovah's Witnesses have taken legal action against Australia's charity watchdog after it revoked the organization's tax-exempt status over concerns with the religion's opaque global donation structure and an alleged failure to protect vulnerable people. Okay? So, this article says the Jehovah's Witnesses have taken legal action against Australia's charity watchdog, which is the ACNC. So if this was untrue, does that mean the lawsuit part is untrue? You know, this is what is so confusing, and this is why I don't trust the media. Going over to Reddit, and like I said, I'll put the link down below to this too. Correction from the Australian to yesterday's story suggesting ACNC had withdrawn Watchtower's charity status. And like I said, no, they've only been threatening to do this. This was false. Fake news. Article behind paywall, but someone sent me the content below. Correction. If any readers understood an earlier version of this article as suggesting the ACNC had withdrawn Watchtower's charitable status, the Australian withdraws that suggestion because they lied. The Jehovah's Witnesses say they have resolved legal action with Australia's charity watchdog after it threatened to revoke their tax-exempt status in November last year. Well, like I mentioned earlier, because they've joined the redress now. Allegedly. You know, now I'm even questioning that. Watchtower Director Terry O'Brien said the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission confirmed on April 14th that they would not be revoking the organization's charity status and that the matter had been closed. Mr. O'Brien said the Australian suggestion that the ACNC had revoked their charitable status was false. So, you know, in my humble opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, my goodness, you know, how one little story, and like I mentioned before, I hadn't seen this story anywhere else. So it goes back to my original question. Then is Watchtower suing the ACNC? And if not, then who is giving the journalists this false misinformation? These half-truths and lies. You're just fulfilling Watchtower's, you know, what they say about all of us, apostates. So you can see why I have a lot of concerns, because I've seen too much of this misinformation getting out, and it concerns me. You know, you guys know Mike and I love this XJW community, and we love all of you Jehovah's Witnesses waking up, and we really wish we could get all of the Jehovah's Witnesses to wake up, including our families. But we have to be careful. We don't want to take Watchtower down with misinformation. We want the truth to be out there, because Watchtower loves this kind of thing. Watchtower's sitting back and laughing at all of this. I don't know for sure, but that would be my, guess. I would be. It's like, oh, look at all of these apostates spreading half-truths and lies. So, the information given to these journalists, if it is not 100% accurate, you are discrediting the entire XJW community and all of us who have worked our asses off for 8 years trying to get truth out there. Disgusting. Disgusting. So thank you everybody for watching. I know Kimmy's on a rant, but this just infuriates me. And so many are afraid to stop and think and then speak up. Oh, you don't want to say anything against them. Oh, you don't want to say anything against that person. Well, I'm saying it. I'm not going to name names, but we all know who is involved. You just have to look at the article. So you all have a wonderful day. We love you. Bye.